Australia is one of the most pivotal higher studies destinations all across the world. It's not just an English-speaking community that attracts a huge number of international students and immigrants, it has numerous schemes and programs to facilitate them. Research Training Program, or RTP, is one such program. To the deserving candidates of higher research degrees, whether a master's or a PhD, Australian public universities offer funding in two different ways. RTP, where the funding comes from the Australian government itself. Higher research degree or HRD scholarships, where similar benefits are offered from the university's own money. We will take the University of Sydney, Macquarie University, and Edith Ciwan University as samples to learn the whole process, from admission requirements to the commencement of a program. Wishes from and welcome to the Higher Study Guy. And now let's jump into the video. Maybe we should start by discussing the difference between an RTP and a higher research degree scholarship. According to my understanding, the basic difference between these two types of scholarships is the sources they come from. An RTP scholarship is sponsored by the Australian government. On the other hand, the HRD scholarships are sponsored by the universities themselves. However, we will find out the subtle differences between these two in the latter parts of the video. Now let's focus on the specific benefits that these two types of scholarships offer. I will start with Edith Ciwan University. It clearly says that it doesn't matter whether you get an RTP or an HRD scholarship. Basically, the benefits are same. You will get 33,000 Australian dollar as stipend per annum. Your tuition fees will be waived and you might get overseas student health cover. Macquarie University is a little bit different in this regard. As you can see, you may end up getting all those 5 stated grad benefits, or even you may get only one. Tuition fee offset, stipend, additional funding on top of base stipend, fixed sum or one-off payment, overseas student health cover. How about the University of Sydney? Well, it's mouth-watering 41,109 Australian dollar per annum as stipend. And of course, you get your tuition fees waived. Obviously, there are some application components that are very common across all disciplines. For example, a resume, 2 or 3 letters of recommendations, a statement of purpose or expression of personal interest. But we will dive deep into the specific requirements that are unique to program, and let's start with Edith Ciwan University. On an average, you have to have 70% marks in each course you have taken during your bachelor's degree to be considered for an admission to a master's by research degree at ECU. Again, if you're applying to a PhD program at Edith Ciwan University, regardless of the discipline, you have to meet one of the following requirements. Whether you are applying to a master's by research or a PhD degree, the English language requirements is pretty much same. Let's have a look. If you're applying to a master's by research degree at Macquarie University, you have to have a bachelor's degree, a relevant bachelor's degree with a decent GPA, and you also need to attach a research statement outlining your area of interest. And please be advised that some disciplines may have additional requirements. To be considered for an admission to a PhD degree at Macquarie University, you have to meet one of the following 3 requirements. A master's by research degree with 75% or greater marks in second year, a Master of Philosophy degree, or a 2-year master's degree with a major research component with 75% or greater marks. It's no surprise that you have to fulfill English language requirements to be considered for an admission to a higher research degree at Macquarie University. Here are the options how you can fulfill that requirement. The University of Sydney. The University of Sydney is a little bit different in the case of designing its application requirements. It's really hard to find out some common requirements that might be applicable to all disciplines. Let's have a look at the following chart. It's from the business school at the University of Sydney. As you can see, for some programs, whether it's a master's by research or a PhD degree, you might need to submit a GRE or a GMAT score. For the rest, you don't. Therefore, for the University of Sydney, we would request you to find it out yourself what requirements you really need to fill up to be considered for an admission to your desired program. Let's now get into some frequently asked questions or FAQs. When do you apply for an admission and as a scholarship? Almost every Australian university offers PhD admission all year round. But for the Masters by Research degrees, they offer at least 2 intakes in a year and some offer more. Importantly, whether you are applying for a Master's by Research or a PhD degree, you have to apply by the specific deadlines to be considered for an RTP or a higher research degree scholarship. How do you apply for an admission and an RTP or higher research degree scholarship? Although many Australian universities allow you to submit the application online, some universities require you to go to an authorized agent to submit your application. However, to apply for an RTP or a higher research degree scholarship, you only need to indicate that you want to be considered. When you will be considered for an admission, you will be considered for the scholarship too. What application components may offer some edge over other candidates? Well, I have seen both, the successful and unsuccessful candidates. If I speak about only one component of your application, it must be your research experience and exposure. I have heard from the successful candidates themselves. If you meet the other requirements and you have at least 2 publications as first author, then you have a decent chance of winning a scholarship. Many other aspects can play a role here. For example, if your previous degree is from a very reputed institution, then that may prove vital.